All right. Good morning, folks. Thank you for joining us virtually this Monday morning. My name is Jackie Young, and I am the founder and executive director of Texas Health and Environment Alliance. Our mission is to protect public health and water resources from the harmful effects of toxic waste. We have led the communities around the San Jacinto River waste pits since our inception in 2015. However, I was deeply involved with the waste pits Superfund process prior to that as a concerned community member. Yesterday, October 11th, marked the 3-year anniversary since the EPA signed the record of decision for a full cleanup of this Superfund site. Today, we're in the design phase, where all of the fine details of how remediation will take place and are worked through. After finding numerous concerning items in the 30% design report for the waste pits cleanup, we called on the Environmental Protection Agency to ensure integrity and transparency in the Superfund process. They heard our concerns and took action by requesting additional data and information from the responsible parties. This was a huge step in the right direction. Today, we are calling on the responsible parties, International Paper and McGinnis Industrial Maintenance Corporation, which is a subsidiary of Waste Management. The EPA recently approved a 160-day extension on the design of the northern waste pit, which, if completed on time, now places the final design completion at April 22nd, 2021. To prevent further delays and in efforts to get this right this time around, we are echoing the EPA's request for 2 local stakeholders to have a seat at the technical working group table. For more than 1 year now, the EPA has requested that the responsible parties allow the Port of Houston Authority and Harris County to be a part of the regular working group meetings, and the responsible parties have denied this request. To date, these 2 stakeholders have provided valuable technical feedback to the Environmental Protection Agency. However, their review is an afterthought and is not streamlined in the ongoing process. When a milestone is reached or a body of work is completed, it is handed off to these 2 entities for review. They then provide technical comments to the EPA, and often revisions are then made to the body of work. This causes unnecessary delays in the process, and EPA is asking that these stakeholders simply have a seat at the table in the ongoing dialogue for technical work to make the process smoother and more time efficient. However, the responsible parties have continuously denied our local government a seat at the table. Our local government is not asking for more authority, but simply to streamline the process, prevent further delays, and get this site cleaned up safely. We're calling on the companies International Paper, McGinnis Industrial Maintenance Corporation, and Waste Management to be a good corporate neighbor and allow our local government at the table. Today, we find ourselves in a pro-business, pro-small government state, and we have these corporate giants, some of which are headquartered right here in Houston, and they're denying our local government a seat at the table. Of additional concern, the new estimate for remediation is 7 years. When the record of decision was signed in 2017, it outlined cleanup to take 2.5 years. Now the estimate is 7 years. We really need this process streamlined. We need it to be made more efficient and done correctly to see that this site is properly cleaned up before the next hurricane wreaks havoc on the San Jacinto River. Furthermore, Texas Department of Transportation plans to replace the Interstate 10 bridge that crosses the San Jacinto River starting in 2024. The access road for the northern waste pit is a TxDOT access road, and over 10,000 truckloads of waste material will need this road during remediation to remove the waste from the site and start it on its way to its final destination. This further mounts the complexity of this remediation. A recent NBC article regarding the EPA and the waste pits cleanup stated, I quote, A spokesman for International Paper said the company is committed to protecting public health and the environment and would work with EPA and other stakeholders throughout the cleanup process. But we aren't fully seeing that. And we need the responsible parties to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. To the responsible parties and the EPA, I cannot stress to you enough. Time is of the essence. Let's stop wasting time and tax dollars fighting over what needs to be done and denying the true toxicity of this waste site. It's imperative that this site moves swiftly towards remediation and a full cleanup before a hurricane swiftly moves this waste into Galveston Bay. This has been an ongoing issue for decades, and we need it to stop. We need it to be rectified as soon as possible. We genuinely appreciate the Environmental Protection Agency taking steps in the right direction to hold polluters accountable, and now we need the responsible parties to step up to the plate. Thank you. Okay, so we have a question that has come in from a press outlet, and the question is there a concern that there is an attempt to allow local stakeholders a part in the design process as a way of delaying the remediation of the Superfund site? So first and foremost, I will say that not everybody involved with the waste pits has the same agenda, right? Our agenda is simply to protect public health and the environment and see that this site is safely removed. However, it's pretty typical for corporations' top agenda to be returning money to shareholders. And so, I can't say necessarily what their intent is in not allowing the local government to have a seat at the table, or, what the intent is time and time again when they ask for extensions and delays in this process. But, we see a few patterns of practice here. And the EPA is simply asking for two stakeholders to be part of the technical working group for a couple of main reasons. One, incorporating the county and the port's valuable feedback as part of the ongoing process. To date, they've provided excellent technical support to the EPA, and the agency is just simply asking to streamline that process. And the second point, is that it is to prevent further delays. Having our local government and the Port of Houston Authority being a part of this process as the process moves on day in and day out will prevent further delays. And still, the responsible parties have denied this request. All right. Tracy, if you want to go ahead and stop recording, and I'm going to open up the floor to see if we have any more thoughts, feedback, or questions.